New interview session right now with Josh York. Let me say this simple. There's a single reason this episode is happening, and it's called perseverance. I am a big fan, of telling a lot of you right now to DM 100, like every day all I hear is complaining. I read it all day. My life is garbage these days. All I do is read complaining. And there's so much solutions in an internet world that it just makes me like, I'm so passionate, if you're listening right now, for people to know how in control you actually are with the internet. Because the internet doesn't know what school you went to, where you came from, what your family's last name is. It's just a platform. And so when I say my hyperbole of like, hey, just DM 100 people that you want to work for, or just make content for somebody and show them, just take it. I mean it. 4,000 will say no, but 4,001 says yes, and isn't that better than the shit job you have? Everyone's like, I want to live my dream. I'm like, wouldn't you? If I told you you would 100% have your dream come true, if you actually DM'd on Instagram 4,001 people, I would argue almost everybody would do that, logically. It's just that you don't believe me when I say it. And so the reason I really wanted Josh on the show is he just basically out-willed me to be on this show. And then when I sat down with him, I did some speech in the Upper East or West Side, and then we had a coffee or lunch, and basically that's all he's ever really done. And very honestly, he's here for his selfish wants and needs of exposure, which is right. All humans are right, in a good way. I'm here selfishly because I think me setting up this podcast and telling you how we even got on it. Now, what's gonna happen next is 8,000 of you are gonna bug the shit out of me, and I'll tell you right now, 7,999 of you will never be here. It took, serendipity, moments in time, and the fact that he's actually built something, which is an important part of this story. But for there to be no confusion, there's one selfish reason he's on this show, which is every one of you can have the business, the job, the show you want to be on, if you actually understand how to ask. I do think that there's a fine line between annoyance. There's so many people bugging the living shit out of me actively right now. There are thousands of people bothering me with the way they're emailing me. My favorite is when you email me 97 times in a row, thinking that's gonna, what happens is my admins delete it, and then the IT department blocks your email and anything to associate with you in perpetuity. So there's the right way to jab, there's the right way to have, listen, the perfect balance of persistence and charm is very difficult. It is a natural, innate thing, but here's what I will say. If you try to figure out how to bring value to somebody and you persevere, I really do think there's a play here. And honestly, to be very frank, I think Josh built a really meaningful business. I'm not in the mindset of investing now. I'd rather buy sports cards than invest in companies. But even though it wasn't a perfect execution for me of I'm getting this value, then let me have him on the podcast, it was so important for me to have an actual human manifestation of the thing that I want all of you to do out there, which is look, if you want to be a rapper, a producer for rap, go ask 47,000 times Metro Boomin, Sunny Digital, Murder Beat, just fucking ask, ask. Now, if you know how to ask with grace, it's gonna work better. If you know how to reverse engineer the person of what they care about at this moment, if somebody has a new album coming out and they're your favorite rapper, Young Nudie has an album out today. If Nudie's your guy, you could have made 25 pieces of content if you're that person, and sent a DM to him to help him post on his social channels, because everybody needs more content, and then that might have been the reason you got the job. So there's a cadence to it. There's one huge setup, because I'm gonna let Josh talk most of the rest of the way, of why he's here, and that's it. That's fucking it. What's up, bro?
Listen, first off, I want to say is that the value is definitely coming your way. And I'm telling you right now, not to be ballsy, but this is going to go down as the greatest podcast you've ever done. The content is going to be pouring through this microphone. I'm telling you that right now.
I believe you.
Because my story is incredible. I've done it bootstrapped, as I like to refer to it, with shoe dog in it. I've done it bootstrapped. Today we are the fastest growing in the fitness space. We're disrupting the entire fitness industry. And in 15, 20 years, just like I know you're going to own the Jets, and I know why you're going to own it, because you already own it in your head. I'm the same guy as you. I know exactly how you think.
Help everybody who hears that. Why do so many people have it in their head and it doesn't happen? What's the disconnect between having it in your head and it actually happening from your perspective?
Yeah, well, first of all, everyone wants the gold, but people just say, you know what, I'll settle for the silver. People don't actually cross the finish line. People, I heard.
Why?
Number one.
From your perspective, one man's point of view.
Well, first of all, you said something the other day that I was just watching that I love. People fold like cheap chairs. I believe business is 80% mindset. 80% mindset. I always put myself in the most uncomfortable situations. Like, just so everyone knows, I will tell you why. Because putting yourself in uncomfortable situations allows you to get comfortable. This has been going on 4 years, but I never stop. And you're just talking about a story, and I'll share a really great story. So when I first started my company, it's GYMGUYZ with a Z, but I needed the S. Why? Because no one knew the brand yet, and I knew people are going to go to the S rather than the Z.
GYMGUYZ, the S at the end of guys.
It's with a Z now.
I know
but
this.
yes, but I needed the S because in the beginning of starting, most people won't think like this. People are going to come to that site, and I'm going to lose business.
Of course.
So this guy Al, shout out to my man Al, he's in Colorado. He was selling the website for $48,000. I was lucky if I had 48 cents in my pocket. So what I did was I literally Googled, looked up the domain, went on the site, and I called him once, twice, hang up. We're like 50 times in now. I was like, you know what? I got his address, I'm gonna go to his house. I book a flight to Colorado, I go to his house.
Before we go into your house, Josh, how many times have you been in jail?
Never.
Good, I love it. So this, even though you're stalking, you're doing it in a tasteful way that doesn't scare people.
Listen.
Because people are scary.
Yeah, but I'm not scary, man.
No, but you're giving advice right now, and like some people on the other side right now are gonna do the scary version of it and be in jail. So like it's important for you to break down.
100%.
I'm being serious. You agree with me, right?
I agree with you.
Like people go to fucking jail.
100%.
And you have a better tact than that. And I think actually, for no shits, you have to figure out some of the subtleness in that, because some people are just like, some people will run through this glass door instead of opening it, and in that is the punchline.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So anyway,
went to fucking guy's house.
Went to his house, knock on his door, no one's there. I'm like, all right, I'll come back later. No one's there. I'm like, I'm in a rural area.
Yeah.
So just with like eyesight, you see the house down all the way down, probably like a mile away. Knock on the door, chances are, do you know Al? Oh, he's away with his family this week. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I write a note, leave it with his neighbor, go to his house, leave a note. About 2 weeks later, I get a call from Al. He goes, this is actually crazy now that you're stalking me. I said, Al, listen, I'm not stalking you. Can you not feel my passion dripping through your phone? I said, I'm going to build the largest fitness brand in the world. The chances of that not happening, you got a higher probability of seeing elephants fly. On the 71st time, he gave me the site for free. Mic drop, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you gotta just, if you believe in something
That's some real shit, because I think this is my podcast, and all I think about is the listeners and how do I bring them value. I'm pumped that you're gonna get this awareness and people are gonna love you and all that. I mean that. Yep. I think you know me well enough at this point. I really do mean that. I'm excited for that to be good for you. I'm passionate about that.
Yes.
So, there's so many people that I can't wait to put restraining orders on, because there's a lot of people that do this wrong.
100%.
I'm serious. Like, let's really spend some, before we go into, we'll find time for your part in this, straight up, on some real shit.
Yeah.
What do you think allows you to go that hard and get things done where 99% of the people don't, and end up in really weird spaces where they get in trouble, they get restraining orders, they lose their way, what do you think in your tact? You know where I'm going, right? Because there's a real bad version of you.
So, yeah.
And I know a lot of those people, I've had those people, I know unlimited people that have those people, and those people really lose, because it's not just going to jail or a restraining order. You get a reputation amongst winners, and then you're blacklisted.
100%.
How do you feel like you've been able to, what's your gut tell you on that? You may not even know the answer.
No, I do. I think every business in general, everyone's in people business. I think the number one most important thing is relationships. And if you don't have, I know you and I connected right away. Even when we met 2 years ago in Vegas, I knew we had a connection. Yep. But I didn't go crazy and keep calling you because I knew that was the wrong play. Originally, I don't even know if you know, I sent Tyler, I shipped you a tire.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and I wrote my driving intensity with tread marks all over your floor. And I know no one ever shipped you a tire, so I was like, you know what, I'll start with something really out there.
No, I remember Tyler came in, he's like, dude, did you meet some guy in Vegas? I was like, yeah, I met him in a side room, good guy, bald dude. This is literally what I said. He's like,
did you say handsome?
I didn't say that, I said bald dude. I said, I remember this moment like it was yesterday. He's like, he sent the tire, I'm like, throw it away, and went on my day. Yeah. But that's an important part of the story.
100%.
Because that actually happened. Smart little move. Tyler comes in. I'm like, fuck that, dude. I don't want to fucking throw it away. Yep. I'm like, I know what he's doing because I know.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep. I'm
like, throw that fucking... Now, here's real truth, and this is why everybody has to hear this, because I'm obsessed with this episode bringing value. The only reason I told him to throw it away was when he asked. This is not a joke. Know this. Anybody that you're desperate to meet is busy and is a firefighter.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So Tyler asked me a different moment where like a meeting got canceled and I weirdly had 2 minutes to myself. I would have like looked at it.
Yep.
I would have loved it. He asked me, I don't remember this part. Inevitably, when a client fired us, when I had a problem with like an employee, right? I was
100%.
not in the right mindset to have that 100th of a second. That is actually real life. I FaceTimed somebody on Snapchat the other day for 5 minutes. They want a Twitter thing with me.
Right.
He said when I posted him I had the 90-second clip for like 2 seconds this year. He posted it, or I posted it, and he said he had 800 friends reach out to him, like just whatever the number was, a lot. And they're like, oh my God, you got 5 minutes with Garyvee. I've watched every piece of content of his for 4 years, 2 years, 9 years. All these stories, and he told me on the FaceTime, he goes, I'm embarrassed because I'd only discovered you 40 days earlier. And I was like, man, that's so how life is, right? This guy discovered me 40 days earlier, and he gets this 5 minutes, where there's people who are listening right now who've like been following me for 6 years, have desperately looked for 5 minutes, and it hasn't happened. Because that's real life. That's not I'm a bad guy. That's not you're unlucky. We have to wrap our head around serendipity and look for the moments. Keep going.
But let me tell you something.
Please.
I'm a big believer, and I know you're down with this. I think visualization is a very big important component of success. Like I believe you have to. Like I'm visionist. Like I've actually seen this, and I've obsessed over it. Just like we'll go back to the Jets. I know for a fact that you're going to own the Jets because I know you're obsessed with it. You have to be so obsessed, but not to the point where it's crazy.
You scare the fuck out of people.
Yeah, when you scare people, it's got to be calculated.
Have you ever scared anybody?
No, never, man.
I believe you. Well, some people are funny the other way. Some people are scared by me, and I'm like, Jesus. I'm not.
No, you're a nice guy, man. You're
So,
great.
all right.
But so you have.
Now you have the S.
So I have the S. Got the website. It's great, and.
Tell everybody the model, because I think the model's interesting.
Sure.
Because I think it's a replicatable model for some hustlers listening.
Absolutely. So
It's a franchisee business.
It's a franchise business, right?
But there's no physical locations.
No location, no
There's a
brick and
van.
mortar. It's a van. We bring the workout to you. Home office, pool, park, place of worship. You want to work out in the closet. We want to do a VaynerMedia workout. We literally bring all the equipment right to you. I will give you lifetime free sessions just because I'm going to provide more value to you. I'll let my team work out your whole crew in here for free. For free. That's on record.
Understood.
That's number one. Number two, we literally bring the workout anywhere, okay? We're disrupting the fitness industry. Right now, we are literally the fastest growing in the fitness space. You think of like...
Well, it makes sense, right? Like if somebody wants to buy these other gym franchises, I assume...
It's $1 million investment.
Right. And how much is it for...
One territory, $80,000.
And how big is a territory?
It's 100,000 people. So you're going to get, in that territory, you're going to get 10,000 approved households.
I see.
Over a certain median income.
I see. And what is that level?
So it's really based on obviously demographics of the area,
Right, because Alabama,
it's cost of living and all that. But I started this with $15,000 bootstrapped.
How did you know to do franchisor? Had you seen that model? Did you see something?
So I didn't learn.
Yes.
I didn't know anything about it. But when I started this in my parents' dining room, I said, I'm going to franchise this business. And
Why
just
did you
build it
say
up.
that? McDonald's?
Because I like
Orange
the fact.
Theory? What was on your radar?
I like the fact that you could bring a lot of great, smart minds together and build a very powerful brand. And I want to create, this is what I said, I want to create a powerful movement that I can bring everyone together, because if you know McDonald's, the dollar menu, the McFlurry, those are all started by franchisees. I don't have all the answers, just like you don't, and we can learn from each other. Everyone can learn from each other, but when you're allowed to surround yourself with great people, you can build things at a faster
You
scale.
thought that was smart.
I thought it was genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The model of franchisees, franchisor.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's American.
Comes with a lot of
model.
headaches, though. Listen,
Of course,
every single
one dope with a van can fuck you up.
100%. Look,
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur, everyone thinks it's so cool. Listen, lay down in the road, let a car drive you over, go in reverse. Drive you over, then you'll get a break for like 3-4 weeks. Lay down again, it's gonna go over you again and back.
What was the hardest moment? So how long, when did you start this?
I started this in 2008.
On some real shit, because I want to bring real value.
Making payroll for almost 10 years, every single 2 weeks. I had to figure out how to make payroll.
I think you told me over at lunch a scary one where you were like really...
Gee, I was in a casino.
Right, yes, you told me
I
this.
drove to a casino. Do not do this. Do not do this. I didn't do it, but don't listen to me when I tell you now. So, I'm in a casino. I had my life savings. I only had $5,000 left, and I was like, all right, I need 20 grand. If I could hit red, red's obviously our color, I was like, if I could hit red,
Then I'll have 10.
Then I'll have
and
10,
hit red
and
again.
I'm going to double it, and I can make payroll.
So what happened again?
So I sat there.
You called somebody.
Yeah,
Everybody
no,
told me
I
the story.
called someone who's very successful, who's
Yeah.
like been a mentor to me, and I was like, so you think this is a good idea? He's like,
Hey, I'm in Atlantic City. I need to make payroll. It's 20,000. I have 5,000. I'm gonna put on red. Do you think it's a good idea?
he's like, Josh, it is the
Josh,
stupidest
you're the
idea
stupidest
ever.
fucker I've ever
Yeah,
met.
he's like, but you got the biggest set I've ever seen in my life. You're crazy
Loved
doing
it.
that. So, I loved it. And this guy's self-made, very
So
successful.
he loved it.
So I said, you know what, it's a stupid idea. So I went back to my office. Now this is what I can't
And you
stand.
called everybody, right?
I called
remember this.
every
I have
single
a good memory. I'm
client.
proud of myself right now.
Gee, come on.
Thank you.
So I called every single client.
And a couple, yeah.
And I gave away over hundreds of free sessions and raised 46 grand overnight. Now, I couldn't take credit cards because I needed the money in the bank. So I drove to everyone's house to collect checks. If you're listening to this and you complain and you're hanging out at home on the weekend, that's a problem.
Yep.
This is why people don't get to the next level.
This is that $6 coffee thing that I had to create clarity about the other day. I don't mind $6 coffees. I don't mind $70,000 pairs of sneakers. I get mad when people complain and do things that make no sense.
100%.
To me, this is just about complaining. If
Here's
you
the
go buy
problem.
a boat, a Rolex, or what have, that means you haven't a peep of complaining. The
Listen.
second you go into complaining mode, I'm auditing the fuck out of you.
Gee, do you know how many DMs I get a day? And I don't have a lot. I'm still like in the early stages.
2?
Yeah, like 3, 4, 5. But anyway, I get DMs in a day. Oh, you want to grow your following? No.
Oh, yeah.
No. And people are like, why don't you want to grow your following? You should have millions of followers. Because it takes time. Half the stuff out there is fake.
Half?
Probably 90%. Gee, I heard there's a business now that you could rent a private jet, a car, and a whole setup for an hour to do a shoot to pretend like you own it.
Brother,
That's genius.
People have been doing that. People have been jumping fences to take photos that they're going on a private plane at scale.
Crazy. It's crazy.
We also live in a world where 22-year-olds are having plastic surgery.
I know, it's crazy.
All that people want to do is make pretend
Listen,
they're successful.
you're gonna love
and
this.
happy.
You're gonna love this. It's great content. You know this tune? Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
Okay, Mara Brothers, right?
Yep.
You can compare that to entrepreneurship any day of the week because you always get to live to see another day. But in some situations, I mean, you know, like you'll die, but you can start at a certain point because you got to a certain point and you can continue without having to go
You got
back
like
to
3.1, even though you almost got to the end. They go back
exactly.
in.
But you know, sometimes you can take 10 steps back to move 20 forward, and sometimes you take 5 steps back to move 10 forward.
I'm more like up, down, left, right, BA, select, start, because that's unlimited lives.
I love it. Listen, I love it.
That's how my entrepreneurship works.
Look, man.
Contra, bitch.
Look, you know, it's funny, you know, you and I agree with so many different things, like school, for example. You know, I look back to school, look, like, I was a horrible student, horrible. Didn't excite me, didn't love it, and people go to college, they waste all their money. I think people should literally be working for people who've done it.
How old, I apologize for interrupting you.
I'm 36.
How old now? And so that means you started when you were 20,
25.
25. Talk to me about 20 to 25.
Oh, man.
Were you a knucklehead?
No, I was just depressed, man.
You were?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. You know, people were like driving around. See, you know, I had a rough life growing up, rough. And listen.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in New Hyde Park, in Long Island. Rough life, you know, and but I don't. You can't make excuses, man.
No, I understand.
Whatever cards you're dealt,
You
deal
gotta
with them.
Listen, people win 3-7 offsuit all the time.
That's it. You just deal with them. You deal with them. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing in my life because.
What resentment did you have built up at that point? Did you want to be rich?
No, listen. If you chase the money, you got a problem.
Agreed.
You cannot chase the money. I'll tell you that right now. So many people have it twisted and wrong. I've always wanted. I love fitness. I've always loved fitness.
Really?
Loved it. The problem is doctors and trainers are exactly the same. A doctor without patients unemployed. Trainer without clients unemployed. And I used to always say, how can I make money when I'm not working? Because you got to work on your business, not in your business.
Yeah.
I need to get paid.
So
on
you
it.
were a trainer.
I was a trainer.
I see.
And people used to always laugh at me and look at you, Josh, you're working at the gym, you're a trainer making $10 an hour. And
Did you like it?
No, I loved it.
When they made fun of you?
No, I didn't care because I just said, you just wait.
Didn't hear.
No, I don't. I tune that stuff. Listen, I got a problem. It's my neck. I look this way only. I never turn back this way. You make a mistake, that's it. Someone's gonna sue you. There's some things that happen in business. People are gonna sue you. People are gonna lie to you.
What are you most excited about? Like right when you like now dream,
Yeah.
right? You've got this thing rolling a little bit. Like
Oh, it's rolling.
Yeah. What do you really? How do you think about the? What is you know? It's funny when you said you're. It was funny when you said you're obsessed with the Jets. It's really funny. I'm obsessed with chasing the Jets.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how much I like process over.
Great.
Let me give you an example. You know a lot about me, right?
Yeah.
You pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
You know anything about this? I mean it. Like real talk. You know anything about it?
That I do not know.
That is the single biggest exit in the history of my life.
Wow.
That's a company called Resi.
Resi.
That years ago I started with Ben Leventhal, and we brought over Mike Montero. It was incubated at VaynerMedia. It was part of the Vayner RSC fund that I had. We started it because I didn't want to just invest, I wanted to build. And Ben and Mike did an incredible job. I was on the board. There was a time when the company was struggling. I put personal money into it, real check for me at the time. And it exited to Amex within the last year, maybe 9 months ago, maybe a year ago, for hefty 9 figures.
That's great.
It is the single biggest win on my record.
That's great.
Nobody knows anything about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember why I said this. Oh, I like the process, not the winning moment.
I hear you, man. It's,
Like-
funny. It's
like-
funny you say that because, I was telling some people, I'm going on with Gary today, and they're like, oh my God, that's amazing, that's great.
He's so handsome. Like, whatever.
Dude, they're like,
Go
stud,
ahead.
his scruff looks
Go ahead,
great,
go ahead.
good hoodies. But I didn't look at it like that. Like, I really, truly believe you and I are going to have a good connection past this, and I got some big things that we'll talk off record. But I was just excited to just come here and just provide value and just, I've always been about, when I get a call from a woman who's 414 pounds, that couldn't have bariatric surgery, that was drinking 17 Slurpees a day, and all she wanted to do was have a family and have children.
Good for her.
And I personally changed her life.
Yes.
And she's 160 pounds, and she literally wants to get my name tattooed on her. She calls me once a month. Like, I get emotional sometimes. It's
I get
crazy.
it.
Or like when someone's mom calls you up because their kid's being picked on because they have no confidence, and you help them. Like, that moves me. Yeah, that moves me. And I want to continue to do that because look, in the fitness world, people are procrastinators. People can't turn on a machine. They can't open an app.
Dude, it's so unbelievable. Back to, you mean eliminating friction?
Yeah.
Listen, it's the half-pregnant version. Your model is, I understand super well, because I think I can afford having a babysitter. Like the fact that in 2 hours, Mike Vacanti is coming here. By the way, I learned something about myself. I'm getting much better workouts in the evening than I am in the morning.
That's great.
So I've changed that up a little bit, but I needed a babysitter.
You need accountability.
Yeah.
Everyone needs accountability.
And you'll never believe this. Everybody who's listening, that's such a good point by Joshua. Let me tell you about my accountability. I am not accountable to myself. I'm accountable to others. That's why I'm such a good leader.
Yeah.
I think more about Jason and Dustin. I feel like I work for them, for real. And once I figure that out with workout, I'm like, wait a minute. If I get a full-time trainer who babysits me, I don't want to let that. Literally, I'm doing well because I don't want to let Mike down. One moment in the last 6 years that I had a little bit of a flop, which was the back half of last year, it's because Jordan, my trainer, who kind of looks like you, by the way, Jordan, my trainer at the time, was burned out. It was 3 years, he crushed. By the way, between soft tissue work and in a lot of ways, brought me, I don't want to say more, Mike and Jordan have transformed my life as going back and forth as my trainers, but what I asked them to do was impossible, which is, fuck your life, it's 100% my life, you travel my schedule when I want, right? And he wore down, and as soon as he wore down and started I'm not gonna travel with you on this trip, which led to not coming, I'm sick, we both wore down, and I lost, 5.5 years crushed. I can't wait to look back at the content of mine from November, December of last year, because I know I'm 15 pounds heavy, I'm already down 12 pounds, I just need a babysitter because Jordan lost his way, I wasn't accountable to him anymore, which I lost. If you're trying for me, I'm accountable for you, and that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people listening right now, I think the biggest reason that you're not eating well or working out is you're like me. You're not competitive with yourself. I've never wanted to beat myself at anything. People are like, today I'm gonna...
Golden, you said that you work for them. I say that all the time. People don't understand that good leaders always create other good leaders. It's very important to understand. And at the end of the day, when you're thinking that someone else is your employee, I hate that word. I'm not a fan of that. I don't know if you're a fan of that word at all.
You know what's so funny? I'm really funny with words. I think we're in a hypersensitive America where people analyze words. I care about intent. Yeah. To your point, yeah. I understand where you're going, and I appreciate it. Yeah. For me personally, I'll use any word. I'm curious about action.
Action.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I'm
thrilled to call Dustin my employee, but how I treat him is also I think I put certain words on pedestals that are not how they're, to your point. I think we're saying the same thing.
EI.
And I think, yeah.
Emotional intelligence, I live by it.
It's the game.
Yeah, 100%.
What do we need to touch on before we get out of here? Because it's all moves so fast. What have we not talked about? What do we have not touched on?
Listen, honestly, I think it's been pretty good. I think it's been pretty good. I think.
What do you Actually, you didn't answer this question because I probably cut you off because I'm good at that. What
So mine's good.
What are you like? What are you excited about in like 10 or 15 or 20? Like, what do you dream about now? Right? Like, what are you thinking about? Like, let me ask some fun questions. Do you think your company will go public?
Not sure.
Do you think you'll sell it?
Yes.
So you think more likely a private equity firm buys it at a big scale?
But minority.
Understood. So okay, so you want to sell?
I'm gonna listen. I turned down a lot of money already.
I believe you.
And my wife.
You're gonna get to the apex moment that you feel in your heart. Take some money off the board so you can feel that win.
My wife won't listen to this, so we're okay. But I've never shared with her. If I share with her, she'll kill me. But what I've turned down because I believe. You gotta believe. If you don't believe, you're never going anywhere. You have to really believe.
The amount of people that sold too early is all time.
It's crazy. You gotta believe. Everyone wants instant. There's no such thing as instant.
I was on CNN the day Instagram sold to Facebook for $1 billion, 500 days in the company, and I said that Facebook stole it. I got shit on. I'm historically correct.
You are. You're 100% correct.
Now, who knows if they would have been able to scale that? I think Kevin was the key.
The reason people sell out is because
they want it.
Yeah, but the game is also so hard that people just walk away. I was talking to a guy the other day. He walked away because he said he couldn't handle it anymore.
Taking money. I respect that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
There really isn't.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm going to throw you for a real curveball. I will have no judgment against myself if I wake up one morning and say, you know what? I don't want to do this. I want to, like, I'm thinking about selling everything and just becoming a sports car dealer again because I'm really hot on it for a couple of years. No, but I really think, to your point, we enjoy it.
Yep.
Like, to me, the second I don't like it is the second I'll be a DNF student.
You know what it is? Part of me, I love being against the wall. Part of me loves it.
You know what's interesting that I'm curious if it's going to happen to you? I think the reason I've jumped around and done a lot of shit is I'm only most comfortable when I'm an underdog.
I love it.
I actually hate what's going on with Garyvee. You know, I'm a little bit scared of it. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to start getting overrated. You know, with all the things that are happening, I feel like if I get into a place where I'm like, I'm starting a coffee brand and everyone collectively or the majority is like, oh, this is going to crush, I'm going to be in trouble. I have to that's why the sports car thing is so fun for me. Like, I know my inner circle and I know my community. People shitted on me quietly because now it's a little scarier to shit on me publicly because I've been right enough. But people were like, no way. And that's why I like it so much.
Yeah. I still got my hockey card collection, by the way, if you ever want.
Hockey's dead.
I know, I just love hockey.
I love the sport. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, but I'm a big hockey guy.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's just not enough demand.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Okay. Do you want to be a famous entrepreneur?
Well, I think that kind of comes with the territory as you keep growing, you know.
There's people way bigger than me and Cuban and Damon John and everybody that nobody knows who the fuck they are. Do you like kind of the limelight of a winning entrepreneur? Do you like that?
To some degree.
Does it scare you to admit more to the degree? Because I think a lot about this, right? Is it douchey? Is it narcissistic? I'm empathetic.
I think
it's an interesting question.
Here's what I think. I never include my family in anything. In social media, I'm not that guy. I worry about that. Sometimes I think about with you, when you're out with your family, and people are coming up to you.
You know what's funny? By not sharing it, people understand the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
The fact that I never share my life, my personal life, people are gonna always say what's up, but there's definitely it's crazy. If I'm solo, it's I'm into in the right moment, it's more of that respect, wink wink, because they know fuck, I've never seen his kids.
Yeah,
you know?
I like that.
It's kind of cool. Some people, back to who's going to jail, some people don't have emotional intelligence and they steamroll, and then I'm not pissed, I'm actually empathetic, but I'm definitely not open to it. It's like the tire. Tyler showed me the tire at the wrong second.
Yep.
If you're gonna roll up on me and pitch your business without even asking when I'm holding my two kids' hands, there's a 100% chance that I fucking hate you.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, but if you hey, do you have a second? I know you're with your family. Already, I 100% love you. I'll still probably say no. It's like tact.
Yeah.
It's like tact. I still don't even, you know what's so funny? I don't even actually hate you 100% because I'm still so fucking flattered that anybody would want to ask me that I can never get away from that feeling.
Right.
But it's kind of hey, you know the score, be kind. But I get it because you get excited and you think this is your only shot. I get it. I understand it. It still doesn't make me feel my kids get upset.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They don't get enough time with me, so then somebody pitching me is not how they want to spend that Saturday afternoon.
Right.
So that breaks my heart. You know, it's just a whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else. Well, look, my GYMGUYZ franchise family members is the number one who I serve. And the ability that I could bring people into my system just like I changed what's her name's life, Donna,
Yep.
and everyone else, and I could help people run a successful business
That's the
model.
best.
That's the best.
Especially when, like, that to me is, and it's the best because it's selfless and selfish. If you're doing that for Dustin as a franchisee, it's the best feeling, and you're winning too, and that's okay.
100%.
I keep telling my friends, I'm like, I love making people happy and feeling good. I also want to fucking build an empire. You can do both. Right now we're in this world where you can't do both. It's crazy.
Build an empire.
I want to build an empire
100%.
in the nicest way of all time, because the world's abundant. Your empire and his empire and his empire and her empire are not at the expense of my empire. Like, if you're good enough, you can't stop winners.
Can't.
Can't stop them.
Can't. No way. If you're a winner, you're gonna keep winning. That's it.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's Josh York GG.
Josh York
GG.
GG. What's the GG?
GYMGUYZ. Come on, man. ABB.
I'm trying to say
Listen,
that was Stockton to Malone. I know what the fuck.
always be branding. You need to if you're not. I literally went to a conference recently. Everyone in the whole room, they all have businesses. I'm the only one branding. I was actually speaking.
Yeah.
I was the only one branding. Why are you not branding? If you that's an opportunity to talk about your company and get out to somebody else. You got to always be out there branding. It's very important.
If you believe in what you're selling, there's nothing better.
That's it.
Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me, G.
Awesome. That was a good one.